When does emotional persuasion become a fallacy? Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today let's talk about how emotions affect persuasion and how to outsmart emotion-based fallacies and propaganda. To start, we can ask, what's a biblical view of emotions? And we can see from the Bible that God created humans in His image as relational beings. Scripture indicates that God Himself experiences emotions like joy, grief, and righteous anger. So it makes sense that He hardwired us with the capacity for emotions as well. In our fallen world, emotions like fear also play a protective role to keep us from danger. So our emotional capacities are God-given, and emotions are useful persuasion forces. But in our fallen world, emotions can also mislead us and can be used to persuade us into believing wrong or illogical ideas. Let's see how this plays out. I mentioned in episode 27 that our brains often use a mental shortcut called the affect heuristic to make snap decisions based on how something makes us feel rather than on whether the decision is logical. And propaganda, which persuades by appealing to anything besides logic, exploits this shortcut to help us make judgments based mainly on emotion instead of reason. For example, advertisements may show appealing images of junk food in hopes that we'll buy the food because it makes us feel good, even though we know it's physically harmful. On the other hand, some advertisements appeal to fear, implying that buying a product will save us from negative outcomes. Either way, linking products to positive or negative emotions is a common propaganda technique called association. For instance, commercials often play upbeat music and show images of happy people enjoying a product, so we'll associate the product with positive things. On the other hand, messages and culture may link the defense of a literal Genesis to negative things like child abuse, saying that teaching kids about creation stunts their intellectual growth and love for science. When really, like you can learn from the linked resources, a biblical worldview provides the foundation for scientific reasoning in the first place. Nevertheless, emotional appeals make for powerful propaganda, and experiencing certain emotions can make us more susceptible to other propaganda techniques, like gain framing, which puts a positive spin on a message, and loss framing, which puts a negative spin on a message. For instance, saying a new medicine has an 80% success rate would be gain framing, while saying the same medicine fails to help 1 in 5 people would be loss framing. And studies have found that people who are induced to feel positive emotions are more susceptible to gain-framed messages, while people induced to feel negative emotions are more susceptible to loss-framed messages. Along similar lines, multiple researchers have found that we're more likely to make decisions without logic while experiencing positive emotions like happiness, or emotions like anger, which involve a strong sense of feeling certain about something. For instance, one study made students feel emotions associated with certainty like anger or contentment, or uncertainty like worry or surprise. Then, the students read a persuasive essay written either by an authoritative professor or by another student. The students who felt anger or contentment were significantly more likely to be persuaded by the professor's essay, showing that they were more easily swayed by expert opinion rather than thinking critically about the message's content. And while some emotions can help us make logical decisions, like not touching fire because we're afraid to burn, arguing that a message is true or false only because of how something makes us feel, rather than on whether it's logical, is an informal fallacy called appeal to emotion. For example, people may argue against the Bible by attacking the moral character of God, claiming that a loving God would not drown people in a global flood or condemn people to hell. These arguments may have strong emotional appeal, but they neglect the logical reality that, as you can learn from the linked resources, God's justice demands judgment for wickedness, even while His mercy and love provides a way of salvation, like the ark and the cross. These are just a few examples of how emotions can affect critical thinking, but how we can respond by remembering the truth. For more on how to think critically about any faith-challenging messages, you can access my other CT Scan videos packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at secular university. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia. Just wanting to let you know that if you like these videos, are on board to share the message of biblical authority, and want to give, you're welcome to help Answers in Genesis produce more content like this and equip more people to defend their faith by making a one-time donation or becoming a monthly supporter by clicking the link below. Thanks so much.